Difference between pointer receiver and value receiver in Go. In Go, receivers determine how methods are associated with types. The two types of receivers, pointer receivers and value receivers, define how methods are called on objects and how they handle data. Let's break it down. 1. Value receiver. A value receiver works with a copy of the value. Any modifications made to the value inside the method do not affect the original object. Methods with value receivers can be called on both values and pointers of a type because Go automatically handles dereferencing. Characteristics. Use value receivers when the method doesn't modify the data. Efficient for small, immutable data types. Example use cases. Methods for retrieving information from a struct. Pointer receiver. A pointer receiver works with a reference to the value. Modifications made to the value inside the method affect the original object. Methods with pointer receivers can only be called on pointers of a type unless Go automatically converts the value to a pointer. Characteristics. Use pointer receivers when the method modifies the data or when passing large structs to avoid copying. Efficient for large, mutable data types. Example use cases, methods for updating or mutating the structs fields. Here's a line-by-line explanation of the examples for value and pointer receivers without directly writing code to a console. 1 value receiver example, struct definition. The struct represents a rectangle with width and height as its fields. These are the properties of the rectangle. Value receiver method. The method is defined with a value receiver, meaning it creates a copy of the struct when the method is called. Inside the method, the rectangle's width is temporarily modified, but because the method operates on a copy, these changes do not affect the original struct. The method calculates the rectangle's area, width to height, using the possibly modified copy of the struct. Method call and output. When the method is called, it operates on the copied rectangle. The calculated area is returned, but the original rectangle remains unmodified. After calling the method, the width and height of the original rectangle are displayed, showing that no changes were made. 2. Pointer receiver example. Struct definition. Similar to the previous example, the struct has width and height fields, representing the rectangle's dimensions. Pointer receiver method. The method is defined with a pointer receiver, which allows it to directly access and modify the original rectangle. Inside the method, the dimensions of the rectangle, width and height, are scaled by a given factor. Since the method uses a pointer receiver, changes made to the fields affect the original struct. Method call and output. When the method is called, the rectangle's dimensions are updated directly. After calling the method, the modified width and height are displayed, reflecting the scaling applied in the method. At 3. Performance with large structs. Struct definition. This struct represents a large data structure with fields that consume significant memory. Value receiver method. A method with a value receiver operates on a copy of the struct, requiring the runtime to allocate memory for the entire struct each time the method is called. This approach is inefficient when dealing with large structs as it wastes memory and CPU resources. Pointer receiver method. A method with a pointer receiver operates directly on the original struct, avoiding the need for duplication. This approach is more efficient for large structs, as it minimizes memory usage and processing time. Method call and output. Calling the method with a value receiver demonstrates the inefficiency of copying the struct. Calling the method with a pointer receiver highlights the performance benefits of working directly with the original data. Calling methods on value and pointer receivers. Struct definition. The struct represents a rectangle, as in earlier examples, with fields for width and height. Value receiver method. The value receiver method is used for displaying the dimensions of the rectangle. It works on a copy of the struct, ensuring that the original data remains unchanged. Pointer receiver method. The pointer receiver method is used for doubling the dimensions of the rectangle. It directly modifies the original struct as it operates on the actual memory location of the struct. Method calls. Calling the value receiver method on a rectangle displays its dimensions without modifying the original data. Calling the pointer rinser receiver method on a rectangle updates its dimensions. Go automatically converts the value to a pointer if needed. Step 5. Mixing value and pointer receivers. Struct definition. The struct represents a counter with a count field to